Hey everyone, this is Ron Hurst. Welcome back to Land of the Knuckleheads, episode 7. In this episode, I want to take on a different topic again, and that is one that I call buses are for riding. Perhaps you've heard of the relatively famous colloquial phrase, oh, they threw me under the bus, or don't throw me under the bus. Well, I want you to think about that for a minute. If you are a manager and you're throwing your employees under the bus, what does that say about you as a manager? Ever thought about this? You know, you might be sitting there going, it's important for me to be able to talk about the performance of my employees with my boss supervisor. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is. In fact, it's a necessary part of your role. And I have some very simple advice when you're doing that. Have a positive-oriented perspective on where they're at and where you want to get them to. Very simple. Don't throw them under a bus, a car, or any moving vehicle, because that only causes injuries and stupidity, okay? So here's what I want you to think about. Throw people under the bus. You know, what I have observed in my career is that the type of manager who would throw someone under the bus is somebody who is avoiding responsibility. Yeah, I said it. Avoiding responsibility. Because, you know, think about this for a minute. If you're throwing someone under a bus, what is that really saying? You're placing the blame on someone else. And if it's one of your employees and you're placing the blame on them, man, that, my favorite technical term, stupid. So don't do it, guys. You know, I want you to think about it. Put your manager's hat on for a second. Okay, hold on. Yeah, okay, I'm the manager. So you've got an employee who's responsible for a mistake, right? Yes, boss. He made a mistake and it's all his fault. And I don't know what happened, but I think we should blame him. Can you imagine that exchange? Do you actually want to hear about the thoughts that are going on in the head of your manager? Let me just give you a clue, all right? So imagine the little thought capsule over my head. So what you're saying is that you hired this employee, you gave them that project, you put them in that position, but it's their fault. Is that about right? See, the reality is we don't want to get in a position where we're blaming our employees because ultimately we are responsible. We're responsible. Don't be blaming your employees. Take responsibility for them. Now, I've met managers that struggle with this concept. In fact, I've met people that struggle with this concept of taking responsibility all the time. Stephen Covey, one of my favorite authors, passed away last year. He'd written a book several years ago, a very famous book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of those habits is called be proactive. It's habit number 1. And if you read and go back into what Stephen Covey was talking about with that first step, be proactive. What he meant is take responsibility for your decisions. Own the outcomes of your own decisions and the process that you're following so that you can learn from it. If you don't do that, I guarantee you will fail as a manager. Your manager looking at you, just pointing blame fingers somewhere else, and they just see somebody who they made a mistake hiring. So I have some very simple advice for you, my friend. This is something that I like to do with people that need a wake-up call. Here's a $5 bill. See this? What I want you to do is I want you to take this and go buy a spine. Go buy a spine. Man up, woman up, whatever you got to do. Take responsibility for your team. Do not blame your employees. Very important lesson. No, you can't have my $5 bill. You've got your own. Go buy one yourself. Okay, Land of the Knuckleheads. Don't throw people under the bus. Take responsibility for your team. And here's a concept. You know, you might be sitting there going, well, you're pretty insulting, Ron. You don't know my employees. Well, you know what? I've been dealing with employees my whole life, and I know that there are great people out there. And I also know that if you hire the right ones in the first place, you won't be dealing with this problem. I also know that if you set clear expectations, you won't be dealing with this problem. If you give regular performance feedback, both corrective, not punishing as we talked about in the previous episode, but corrective and reinforcing, you won't be dealing with this problem. If you learn how to motivate them effectively and develop really good, deep relationships with them such that they want to perform for you, you won't be dealing with this problem and you won't have to blame anybody. So go develop the intestinal fortitude to be able to make the tough calls and take responsibility yourself. Could it hurt you? Yeah, it could. Yeah. And it'll make you stronger later. That's it for Land of the Knuckleheads.